Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming out to the high school to support us this evening. My name is Ceklosky, and before I really begin, let me paint you a picture of someone. One night, in a small town, a young man, maybe 2 years older than those of us who are about to graduate, woke up to a voice. The young man, confused and naive, sat up from his bed. There in front of him stood God, comfortingly brilliant and warm. The youth bowed down in awe. God spoke. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Be my ambassador to my people during this time of war. Bring them to peace. The young man fell back. Who would believe me? How was I, at nearly 20, fit enough to speak on behalf of God? Am I good enough? Sovereign Lord, he said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. Exuding the tender love of a parent to a child in need, God responded, do not be afraid of them, or me, for I am with you and will rescue you. Indeed, that was God's intent, to rescue his people. And by incremental steps, the youth rose up to God's task. He faced the ignorance of God's people and the betrayal of those who promised to listen. The young man questioned God. Why? Why does it matter what I say? They don't listen to me. In tearful vulnerability, God responded, when they neglect you, they neglect me. Yet I long for them to be reconciled to me. Speak, for I love them so. The young man, although weary, understood in faith that when he was told to buy empty land, God was at work with a plan. When he had been thrown in a well, God was the one pulling up his hand. When he was shackled in a courtyard, prisoner for months, God was tied down deeper, bearing far more pain. And at the end of his life, God promised him refuge, safety, on the once seemingly useless field God had him purchase in his youth. Now, who was this young man? This was Jeremiah, a prophet of God. In many ways, Jeremiah is like all of us, not knowing what the future holds. To know him and his story is to know how God works in our lives in spite of every obstacle, shaping us to be the people that we've been made to be. Personally, I love Jeremiah because he was a poet. I hope to be a writer one day. I've always found myself inclined to poetry. I also love Jeremiah because he believed in having honest and vulnerable conversations with God through his poetry. This, my own poetry, a conversation with God, is what I hope to share with you tonight. I hope that each of you can find yourself in my poetry, in moments of struggle and reassurance. When I was in elementary school, I struggled greatly with fear, to the point where I would refuse to get the help that I needed when I was sick or injured, for fear that doctors would cause me even greater pain. Dear God, why am I afraid? Every activity, every location, every person is threatening. Who can I trust? Why can I trust them? No answer is good enough. God, why do I have to live in fear? Fear that makes for such a fragile shell around me. So many good people are hurt by me. So many people I love shut off by me. So many different things, bike riding, swimming, roller coasters, all are made to be dangerous by me. How can I have been made in such a way? At the pinch of a paper cut, inevitable thoughts flood my head. Would it bleed? Would it hurt? Would I faint? Would I die? Helpless. Countless times I succumb. I fall desperately to the floor. This would happen at least once every year in school for 8 years. And the worst part, Lord, it sometimes isn't even blood, just red marker or tar. I fear for my life clumsily, trusting no one, not mom, dad, nor you. The Lord told me, Emma, know that I will never challenge you beyond your ability. I know you better than you know yourself. Before any person or creature thought of your existence, I loved you with all of my being. I know you. Do not fear the people I have given you to help you in this life. You're fortunate to have parents that love you. You can trust that they want to help you. Hold my hand when you are afraid. I will protect you. When you are in the presence of fear, you will grow in endurance, and I will always carry you out. In middle school, my eyes were open to rudeness in myself and those around me. The divisions that it caused often left me feeling hurt. Dear God, why is there meanness in the world? It surrounds me in hallways, sidewalks, supermarkets. Who are these people? Why can't they be nice? Curses, yelling, tears. Why is obscenity funny? Why has intimacy become nothing but a game? Have we all become so deadened by hurt, living without hearts and ears? God, why has meekness become normal? I know this is not how you made us to be. Your words are tearing at me. Even those I love. Friends look upon outcasts in disgust. Just ignore them, they say. But how are outcasts any less than us? Who am I to be? I don't want to be mean, crude, heartless. But sadly, it's easier to fit it than I am. The Lord told me, Emma, I love and hear you. When they ignore, hate, and curse, they deal double the damage to me. Yet I love them, so then I must let them be. For me to force my will on them, despite my every heartache, would make a heartless God out of me. Yet, my child, remember, one day the proud will be humbled, the humble will be exalted, all will be made equal in my family. I have given and will continue to give you safety, security. Make friends of outcasts. Child, I love you, so you must love them, as I have loved you despite their faults. So, if they ask you for the hope you have in me, answer them with clarity and respect. Love them, for it is better to suffer for doing my good than adding to the hurt that runs rampant. In 9th and 10th grade, I often found myself struggling with loneliness, in part because of the isolation that the pandemic brought on. But my main source of loneliness came from my nonconformity. I was beginning to discover who I was. Dear God, why do I feel alone? It's not really mattered how I got here. That I know. I decided I don't like parties, I don't like dating, I don't like stretching myself thinly across countless activities, I don't conform. So I feel alone. It feels like we, any nonconformists, are always isolated by the world. But why? Why does the world tell me who I'm supposed to be? A neighbor in innocent conversation asks, what do you want to do when you grow up? I respond, I want to write. She frowns. You better go into computers. That's what I made my children do. Grow up, go to college, get a high-paying job, marry, have exactly 2.5 children, die a millionaire. Not my dream. So, I feel alone. I, a heart-shaped peg, am divided to fall into a semicircle hole. Then God responded to me. Emma, do not conform to the patterns of the world. Do not love the traditions, the beliefs of the world. They are not true. Yet I know. It hurts. I also walked alone in the wilderness, hung from a cross alone, dying for the world's sake. So take refuge in me. I bring families and communities to the lonely. So reject the pressures of the world. However hard it may be, I will transform you and will carry you from the ways of the world. I will deliver you into my family. In 11th and 12th grade, I struggled with humility. I felt like the whole environment of putting together college and scholarship applications was entirely anti-humble and forced me to boast about what I have done. Dear God, why am I not allowed to be humble? I'm ready to leave for the world, and I feel like I must be boastful. Apply yourself. Applications, applications, applications. Do they ever end? I'm asked to write about myself. That's fine. I can use me to talk about you. I'm honest. Write about the ways you've worked in me. I'm a work in progress, no shining star, a perpetual underdog. It's not good enough. No. A club I could have led with many others must be a thriving community created by me. Honesty, humility is out of fashion. Everything I've touched exists because of me. What a lie. But faltering, I try. Someone asks, how about you apply for this scholarship? God, I'm torn between integrity and necessity. If I write another application, do I write it honestly about you and me? Or do I gloat shamelessly about myself to likely ensure that I receive a scholarship? Then God responded to me, Emma, do not underestimate me. Never forget that for meekness you will inherit the earth. For purity of heart you will see me. For humility, pour yourself into me. The kingdom of heaven will be yours. You see, the world doesn't value these things. But if you are with me, then you don't belong to this world. It cannot own you. You are set free. So don't give up. I gave you gifts. Use them. Follow my spirit, and I will bring you to peace. And most importantly, listen to me. Finally, I reflect with you all. Throughout my life, throughout all of our lives, we have struggled with countless different things that at moments seem insurmountable. Yet one day we stand atop our hill of strife and triumph. Dear God, here I am, here we are, so close to graduation. You know, I've said it multiple times, I can't believe I've made it this far. And in the grand scheme of things, I realize it's not that far. But seriously, between tests and projects, clubs and activities, honors and trials, I thought it would never end. I remember how long the seconds seemed, fidgeting nervously in the doctor's office with my mom and dad. Now, in a few short months, I'll wait there calm myself. I remember how long the minutes seemed, walking down the hallways out of friend group drama as I blinked away tears. Now, I leave confident that I have a voice of honesty and courage. I remember how long the hours seemed, sitting at lunch in study hall in class alone. Now, I realize in my solitude, I have found where God wants me to be. I remember how long the days seemed, writing essay after essay against the grain about God only to wait more months. Now, finally I stand humbly and grateful for my future at college. So I ask, why have I struggled with God? It hasn't been easy, but I think you and I both know. Our Father responded, if you are to be pierced by thorns, it is greater that you wear them as a crown. Through pains you are shaped to conquer greater trials. If you have raced with men on foot, and they have worn you out, how can you compete with horses? Through struggle and victory you now stand over horses. If you stumble in safe country, how will you manage in the thickets of a desert? Through strife, a champion you now are amongst the most disorienting of deserts. Every struggle has proven for growth in you. Before you were conceived, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Every moment has been a chance for you to grow closer to completeness, to your purpose. Overcoming fear, meanness, and loneliness has made you stronger. You have found your voice. Share it with everyone. In confidence, peace, and love, go out into the world. Amen.